Hi everyone. So since we had to cancel story times to try and um, prevent the spread of the coronavirus, we thought we would try and provide story time services to you guys virtually. So this is going to be our new YouTube channel, and we'll try and post videos fairly regularly while we are close to the public. So this weekend we were supposed to read Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Seuss. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started reading it. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton, but who are you? Where? He looked and he looked, but could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. If you look closely, the speck of dust is right there. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. And if you look closely, the speck's right there. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that'll blow in the pool he has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him because, after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. And so there's the person. So gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over, and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. If you look, you can see the speck right there being dropped on the clover by Horton. Humph, humphed a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said humph too. Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that? Why, there has never been. And so you can see, there's Horton protecting the speck. Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen, and I hear him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4. Quite likely, a family for all that we know, a family with children just starting to grow. So please, said Horton, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them, just please let them be. And you can see there's the family that Horton's talking about. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blame fool in the jungle of Newell, and the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. What terrible splashing, the elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them, I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. If you look closely, you can see the speck on the clover, and see how they're almost splashing him, but Horton's keeping him safe. Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck, he's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked worrying almost an hour. Should I put this speck down? Thought Horton with alarm. If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So you can see there's Horton protecting the clover, and then there's the others in the jungle making fun of him. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. "Speak up, please," said Horton. He put his ear near it. "My friend," came the voice, "you're a very fine friend. You've helped all us folks on this dustbeck no end. You've saved all our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved all our churches and grocery stores." If you look closely, you can see Horton listening. "You mean," Horton gasped, "you have buildings there too?" "Oh yes," piped the voice, "we most certainly do." "I know," called the voice, "I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us, who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who, and we Whos are all thankful and grateful to you." And Horton called back to the mayor of the town, "You're safe now, don't worry, I won't let you down." You can see there's Whoville and the kids playing and everything. But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, "What rot! This elephant's talking to Whos who are not. There aren't any Whos, they don't have a mayor, and we're going to stop all this nonsense, so there!" You can see there are the Wickersham brothers, and poor Horton's trying to keep the speck safe from them. They snatched Horton's clover, they carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Vladikoff, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing. And they said, "Will you kindly get rid of this thing?" And before the poor elephant even could speak, the eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. And there's poor distraught Horton, and then there's the monkeys given over the clover. All that afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm all my little folks, who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do." But far, far beyond him, the eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping, I'll fly the night through, I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it." So there's Horton giving chase, and there's the eagle flying away. And at 6:56 the morning he did. It was sure a terrible place that he hit it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird, "but I think you will fail." And he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail. So there's poor exhausted Horton, and there's the eagle dropping the clover with the speck containing Whoville. "I'll find it," cried Horton, "I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on that small speck of dust." And clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" But clover by clover he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon poor Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. So there's poor Horton making his way through the clover field trying to find the Whos. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3 millionth flower. "My friends," cried the elephant, "tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" If you look closely, you can see the speck right there on top of Horton's clover. From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. We've really had trouble, much more than our share. When that black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded that voice of the mayor, "will you stick by us Whos while we're making repairs?" "Of course," Horton answered, "of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks through thin and through thick. So you can see the Who's trying to make repairs to their village. Humph, humphed a voice. For almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who've never existed. Such carrying ons in our peaceable jungle. We've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle. And I'm here to state, snapped this big kangaroo, that your silly nonsensical game is all through. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. So there's the kangaroo, and then there's Horton trying to protect Whoville. With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your suspect, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezelnut oil. Boil it, gasped Horton. Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you. So there's Speck, and there's the kangaroo and all the Wickersham brothers, and then there's the pot of oil. Mr. Mayor, Horton called. Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout. Make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in bezelnut stew. So there's Horton trying to plead with the mayor of Whoville. And down on the dustbed, the scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in Whoville Town Square. And his people cried loudly, they cried out of fear, we are here, we are here, we are here, we are here. And you can see all the people in the square of Whoville pleading their case. The elephant smiled. That was clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well. All I heard, snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze, and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me neither. So see, there's all those people still not believing Horton, while he's trying to prove that the Who's are really there. Grab him, they shouted, and cage that big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tight so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb Speck in the bezelnut juice. Horton fought back with great vigor and vim, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage. But he managed to call to the mayor. Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourselves heard, so come on now and try. So you can see, there they are wrapping ropes around Horton to cage him up, and he's pleading with the mayor to be louder so that they can be heard. The mayor grabbed a tom-tom, he started to smack it, and all over Whoville they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles, they beat on brass pans, on garbage pails tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots, on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. You can see all the instruments they're using to try and be louder. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky. And the mayor called up through the howling mad hullabaloo. Hey Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through? And Horton called back, I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anyone shirking? So you can see there they are, making a ruckus, hoping to be heard. Through the town rushed the mayor from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help make him more. He raced through each building, he searched floor to floor. You can see the mayor is running around trying to make sure everyone is doing their share to be loud. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere, and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker quite hidden away in the Fairfax Apartments, apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was just standing and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp, and the mayor rushed inside and grabbed the young twerp. So there's Jojo with his yo-yo, and there's the mayor trying to grab him up so that he can contribute. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noise in greater amounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts." Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and he shouted out, "Yelp!" So there they are on top of the tower, getting ready to yell and call out. And that yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck on that clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean. And the elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small, and their whole world have saved by the smallest of all." "How true, yes, how true," said the big kangaroo. "And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them with you." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, any guesses what the young kangaroo said? "Me too. From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them no matter how smallish." And so there's Horton working with the kangaroos now to protect Whoville. And that's the end. So I hope you enjoyed the story, and we'll try and post some more videos for you guys soon. Stay healthy and safe.